Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's continue our game of Panzer Dragoon #1 Remake on Nintendo Switch. Alright, so let's try the modern mode, and then I'm not going to flip my axis. In classic mode, I'm used to down is up and up is down, you know, flight mode. But I got used to direct mapping mode, which was also available on Crimson Dragon, which was the last game in the series. And if you don't remember, that was like an Xbox One launch game. Not my favorite in the Dragoon series, but at the time, you know, there wasn't much to play on that system. I'd say not a lot has changed, but you know. Alright, episode 4. I think this game still holds up pretty well. It is, you know, pretty challenging, I think. The visuals are really nice to see, you know, in a more recognizable format. You know, I mean, things were super blocky back in the Saturn days, you know, as a launch Saturn title. And while it was very impressive for the time, I think it wasn't very long after the Saturn came out that the PlayStation came out. You know, PlayStation 1. And it sort of made all the Saturn visuals look real embarrassing. But Dragoon still manages to impress, I think. I don't know how well I'm going to do. It's where the game gets significantly more difficult. I think this is where I would traditionally start using my continues. Here's where it becomes much more difficult to get 100% too. No. I still think this game is a pretty amazing design, because, you know, back in these days there was just still the single D-pad. You know, the analog control really hadn't come along. So, you know, when you're making a 3D game with 3D movement, you know, how do you really do that without having the ability to use, you know, only being able to move in the X and Y plane, not having a second analog stick? So that was a interesting way to sort of combat that limitation. Was just make it so that you could, you know, the level will scroll all by itself. And then you would just do a little bit of minor control on the camera. I don't know, I think it was pretty smart. This modern method is actually easier to control once you get used to it. If you're like me, I still have like habits from the old game. It still interfere with my head, you know. I'm trying to get over them because it is nice to be able to move your character and your reticle differently. I think you can probably avoid a lot of damage if you do it. Not me. I don't have the skill level to avoid damage, but if you did have the skill level, then it would be better. Okay, it's the regular damage. It can't be lock on damage. Oh, let's do it. I don't think there's any mid-level checkpoint either. This is before those days, so we have to do the whole episode over. That's why it's real important to hit as many of the enemies, you know, get as many points as you can. You know, increase the enemy kill percentage. Because the higher that is, then the more continues it grants you. But I messed up quite a bit in the early game, so I don't have anywhere near as many continues as you're supposed to have. I'm not even sure how I would have avoided any damage that way. smash myself at just the wrong time. That's pretty much the story of my life, though. Come on, buddy. Guardian. Ugh. Alright. Much better that time around. Oh, wow. God, that looks so different. In a good way. Why are all those puny-looking ships so much faster than me? Yeah. 91%, okay. That wasn't bad. Still missed 10 enemies. It's hard to get 100% on that. The camera moves by so fast. I know they seem like long load times, but they're actually much faster than the original Saturn version. You waited around a long time for that CD to load. I'm trying to pay attention to the radar. At the same time, pay attention to what's in front of me and behind me. I'm down to half power. Good grief. I'm sure there's more. It's harder than it looks. That's not a super precise reticle. Oh, boy, I took a lot of damage. I didn't get any credits. Dang it. Episode 6. Episode 6, what is that? Return of the Jedi? Send it all to those other little bastards. Ugh, damn it. Not very much HP left. No! Alright, well, at least I'll have a full health bar this time. I think. Unless it starts me off with half. That would really suck. I start you off getting hit. Well, not really doing that much better. Yeah, duck. Jeez. Ooh, has barely made it. Size doesn't matter, man. Oh, I was supposed to prevent that. Wow, that sucks. Wow, it is crazy how much better this looks. Of course, you know, the game's like 20 years old, but still. Last episode. Yeah, this boss fight is crazy. I mean, so much stuff goes on. Even in the original game, it was just hard to tell, you know, what to shoot at and where to dodge. Interesting to see how this would work out now, since the controls are different, or can be different if you want them to be. Those. remember the tail swipe doing a lot of damage to me too. Cutting down the size. Oh, it's still pretty big. Like my turn, getting in there. Dude, whoa, I really choked it up on episode 5. My goodness. That's a hard one to do well in. I'm pretty sure this game only had one ending. There weren't a whole lot of games that did the multiple ending thing back then. Although the sequel, the Panzer Dragoon Zwei, that had a crap load of endings. Such great music. Ooh, concept art. Oh, that was a really fun trip down memory lane. I mean, they've done quite a lot of improvements. And this was always a game that I loved to replay over and over again when I had my Saturn. Actually, I guess technically I do have my Saturn, but I have a Japanese Saturn now. I'm really glad this project was okayed. I mean, this game really would have been lost because that the Saturn platform really wasn't that popular. And even though there were a lot of really, really good games on that system, you know, the PlayStation obviously ended up winning that that market share. And Sega themselves were under some terrible management at the time. Yeah, some would argue that that's still true, but yeah, you can tell this is a real labor of love. I do plan on reviewing this game when it comes out for PC as well, but you can also pick it up on the PlayStation 4, and I believe you can pick it up on Xbox One. I don't know, I haven't checked the store yet, but I'm pretty sure there's a PlayStation 4 version as well. But it does feel right at home on the Switch. There's a lot of people that ride that nostalgia wave on the Nintendo platforms, and this is sort of the perfect platform for that. Obviously, it's not a really long game, but if you want to do some multiple difficulties, and if you want to get 100% on the shootdown rate, I think you get a little bonus ending at the very end of that. I could never do it. I just wasn't that skilled. And it was a much harder game on the Saturn. having this alternative control scheme, this modern control scheme, I think that really helps. Of course, audiences that are new to this game won't think of anything of it. Being able to move and shoot simultaneously in different directions is not a new thing in video games. If you've been playing things in the last 10 years, really even 15 years. But at the time this game was made, again, it was just the D-pad and 6 buttons. Well, 8 buttons. Panzer Smook. And the music is still some of the best game soundtrack music of all time. It really sticks with you. It is a shame they couldn't have gotten this game to run at a consistent 60 frames. I mean, they were only shooting for 30, so we'll see how it turns out on PC. Hopefully, they aim for 60 on that platform. Not that it's that important. I mean, the game barely ran at like 20 frames on the original Saturn. I mean, it definitely struggled on that system. But you know, 3D was so new, and fast 3D was certainly something that was not common, especially 3D that had so many complex models. Even on PC, the amount of polygon complexity in a PC game was nowhere near as high as it was on the Saturn. You know, generally at the same time that this game came out, most games were still using flat shaded polygons. A couple of games were using like voxels at the time, but you know, the voxels back then were super chunky. You know, nothing like even Minecraft nowadays. And voxels would just chew up a CPU, you know, because it was just all CPU. There wasn't much work for graphics cards, or even having graphic cards back then. That was still a new thing too, as well. I hope this game does well. I hope there's plans for doing Panzer Dragoon 2 Zwei and doing Panzer Saga. I certainly love to see them. Although both of those games, again, they're not long games, but you can replay them over and over again, and they give you different endings and a little bit different experience. Especially trying the Panzer RPG. I mean, that was really quite a different experience. But we'll see. I don't know how people are going to feel about a game like this with its old school gameplay, even though it's been sort of dressed up a bit. Hope people like it. I do, although I would. I think that the reticle's a little either too fast or too slow. I think that's my only complaint, but that's also because we're running at 30 frames. I think maybe it'd be less of a problem at 60 frames. Hard to say. So there you go. That was Panzer Dragoon Remake on Nintendo Switch. I'm going to keep playing and getting my percentages higher. If you want to see that, and me making my futile attempts over and over again, I'll certainly do that. But if you're just in here for the one-time experience, I highly suggest that you go pick it up for yourself. It's a great game, and I think you should experience it as well. It'll be a nice, fresh take on your nice headphones with your controller and your TV or monitor. I think it'll be a good experience for you. So pick it up, for sure. It's at a low price, so why not? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.